It was a chilly evening when Maria adjusted the frayed strap of her old handbag and looked around the bustling restaurant where laughter and clinking glasses filled the air, her heart beating a little too fast because she had promised herself she would not feel out of place, but as a single mother struggling to make ends meet, every fancy place reminded her of what she did not have, yet tonight was not about her. It was about fulfilling a favor for her friend who had begged her to drop by after a disastrous blind date with a man who had apparently left early, leaving an awkward stranger alone at the table, and Maria, being the kind soul she was, had agreed to walk the man out so he would not feel embarrassed, never realizing that the stranger sitting there, tapping his fingers against a wine glass, was no ordinary man but Alexander Grant, the CEO of one of the biggest companies in the city, a man whose polished suit and impeccable manner hid a loneliness so deep that wealth and success could never fix it, and as Maria approached with her little boy clutching her hand, a boy with wide curious eyes who refused to let go of his green dinosaur toy, Alexander looked up, expecting to feel the same disappointment he always felt after failed dates arranged by people who never truly understood him, but instead, his gaze locked onto Maria's warm smile, tired yet genuine, the kind of smile that spoke of resilience forged through hardship, and in that instant something within him shifted. Though Maria only saw a man who looked slightly out of place despite his expensive watch and confident posture, and when she said softly, "I think your evening didn't go as planned, let me walk you out," Alexander chuckled, a sound more vulnerable than she expected, replying, "Seems my blind date ended before it even started, but maybe the night isn't wasted after all," and as they walked through the warmly lit restaurant, her little boy tugging at her coat and pointing at the chandeliers, Maria explained she wasn't his date but just helping out, while Alexander found himself strangely eager to prolong the conversation, asking about her son, her life, her dreams, and each word she shared painted a portrait of a woman who had been knocked down by life yet refused to stay down, working long shifts at a cafe, taking night classes, and pouring every ounce of love into raising her child, and Alexander, who had everything money could buy but nothing real to hold on to, felt a flicker of something he hadn't felt in years, hope, the kind that whispered maybe he wasn't as alone as he thought. So when they stepped outside into the cold night, instead of heading straight to his luxury car, he offered to walk with them to the bus stop, ignoring the puzzled looks of passers-by who wondered why a man of his stature would choose such a simple path. But Alexander didn't care because he was captivated by the way Maria crouched down to tie her son's loose shoelace, by the way her eyes lit up when the little boy laughed, and by the unshakable strength that seemed to radiate from her even though her coat was worn and her gloves mismatched, and as the bus pulled up with a hiss of brakes, Alexander almost panicked at the thought of letting them go, so he blurted out awkwardly, "Can I see you again?" Not like a date, just, maybe coffee. And Maria, taken aback by the sincerity in his eyes, hesitated because she had learned not to trust easily, yet something about him felt different, so she nodded faintly, whispering, "We'll see," before boarding the bus, leaving Alexander standing there with the city lights reflecting in his eyes and a strange warmth in his chest. And that night, as Maria tucked her son into bed in their small apartment with peeling paint and humming pipes, she could not shake the thought of the man who smiled at her as though she mattered, while Alexander, in his sprawling penthouse surrounded by silence, could not stop replaying the moment he saw her smile, both unaware that fate had just set into motion a story that would test their hearts, their fears, and their ability to believe in love again. And dear viewers, if you want to know what happens when two broken souls from opposite worlds collide in the most unexpected way, then stay tuned for Chapter 2, and don't forget to hit subscribe, so you never miss the twists and turns of this incredible journey.